Okay. Hey guys, what's up? So we have I know your Twitter name is French Frenchy 25 Frenchy 25. Yeah. So, well, guys, this is I always wanted to do this. I think it's really cool. It's neat, and in my head, I always visualized. I think it would be a good way to help out the community. I've never spoken to Frenchie. He just reached out on Twitter, and he's like, "Hey, man, yeah, post post and see." And I think once a week or once in 2 weeks, randomly, if I can help anybody, I'll put them on voice, and I'll whatever information I have, any way I can help, I'll do it for free, and I'll try to bring along some of my good friends, some are really really like smart guys, smarter than I am, better traders than I am, and we can see who can help out. I think this is really cool. So thank you very much for doing this, bro. Um, and what would you like me to call you? French, or you want to go something else? Oh shoot. Okay. This is gonna be weird. Testing, testing. Hello, can you hear me? Hey, bro. Uh, Technical difficulties. Let me see how I could do this. Hey, bro, can you hear me? Oh, frick. Hey, bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can. Kind of you
Oh,
went
man,
out,
I can't hear
went in
you.
and out just a second ago.
You have been disconnected. What does that mean? Can you hear me? I got a feeling that people can't hear it. I don't know. So I'm gonna put it on speakers on my. Okay, let's. I don't know if this is gonna work out or not. So I apologize. Like I told you, I am really new to YouTube and recording. So I'm talking to you on my phone because I haven't figured out how to put my set together. And I was just telling them, basically, I want to do this session once every 2 weeks. Just get somebody random from Twitter that I don't know, put them on voice. I'm blessed to be surrounded with some of the guys that are better traders than I am. Very humble, very kind, really good fundamental analysts. So yeah, I was gonna ask you, what do you want me to call you? Just French, or you want to go by something else, or
I mean, you can call me by Makia is my Twitter name.
Makia?
Yep, Makee, Mckee.
Okay, Makia. All right, bro. So, how are you doing? What do you have? Anything you can help you with, or
Yeah,
what's going
man.
on?
Just I guess just kind of going over like the hot ticker today, HEPA,
Okay.
Hippion Pharmaceuticals. I saw that you posted that you had 33 R on it. That's insane. So I just kind of like want to dive in. What your thoughts were. I mean, obviously, it's manipulated. They shoved the price up. They flushed out the longs. They trapped the shorts and rolled it right back up. And then they exited toward the end of the day. I mean, I got a little piece of it. I didn't catch the move. I actually dabbled in it pre-market, but kind of sold it to a pop. I'm still trying to work on that. Holding on for your winners and scaling into positions, but I'm not there yet. I
Okay.
just want to know your thoughts on, what
Okay.
what convinced you to hold on, or what went to short, went to long, and vice versa.
Okay. Um. Well, let me just start off by something. I really really hate, like, when it's, you said 30 RR, like something in my head hit me. I wanted to interrupt and say something, but I didn't, so I just wait. I never try to post on Twitter because I hate posting like 30 RR, big win, all this bullshit thing. Because I don't know. So the thought process, the reason why I made a lot of money, like I got a few lucky shorts and longs and shorted again, and it's the thought process of the market manipulators, what they were thinking, but the fundamental thesis and I had sized up on it from a short angle, and the reason for the short was because of the filings. And I made a video about it, but I am really more than happy to talk about it on voice, um, just because you never know. I could give a clearer answer. So, are you familiar with SEC filings and all of that jazz? Similar, familiar with it?
Yeah, I kind of. I'm still learning. I dabble into it, especially on BAMSEC, and
Okay.
I do the quick 5-10 minute ordeal. I know. That's kind of like the lazy way, but I try to
No,
get
it's okay, bro.
a big
We
idea.
we all
But
we all we all get with it. I could tell you what my perspective was. So a lot of times with these names, I always want to start with like develop a thesis. A lot of I am a fundamental short seller. Um, I am long, but I'm like 90% short. So my thesis revolved around, brother, is the 424 B4. So basically, simply put, they had some convertibles, uh, but that got a bit complicated, and it's like iffy. But today's objective, I think, was the 424 B4, which had I think 2.6 million shares or something a bit more at around $6. Did you take a look at that?
a little bit from this morning.
Okay, I'll send you the link. Just so I'm not here just for the YouTube thing. I'll post it on your Discord. Um,
Okay.
you can open it, take a look, and like I can, if you scroll to the bottom, actually I could make you a hyperlink that will give you directly to that.
So,
Here, I'll give you this link. And I know the people in the audience can't see it, but it's whatever. So that's the overhead. So I'm gonna go over what I was thinking. The original. So whenever I take a trade, I try to put the storyline together. Are they gonna push this? Why are they gonna push this? Are they gonna wash it? Why are they gonna wash it? So it can get simple or complicated. Um, so you have overhead supply, but then you also have to have the other issue with the stock fading is the end of day projection volume. That's another day story. It's a long story. So the thesis in the morning, bro, was there was overhead at $6. If they couldn't push it, pre-market it faded. If they couldn't push it, my thought process was, you know what? They may they may just hedge against it for the next push, and then they will just cover down the road, or if it gets higher, they'll sell, etc. So I had a thesis on it, but I didn't. My thesis was that they were going to push it above 6, and then they were going to dump the overhead supply. That didn't happen. So then you never want to be. One of the worst things that you could do as a fundamental trader is be stuck at something. Be like, this is what's going to happen. I don't care. It's going to come down. It's at $6. I'm going to short it. There's 2, 3, 4 million, 10 million overhead, whatever the heck it was. It's going to come down. That will blow up. So the original thesis was not there, didn't work. And then I shorted in the morning. And what I said on the video that I just made like 5-10 minutes ago was there's the concept of 10:30. At 10:30, the volume dries up. So when the volume dries up, the stock, if overhead was not dumped at around that, if they didn't do their work, generally it tends to be problematic. It won't fade. If somebody's trying to dump, if it trades 1 million volume or it trades 5 million volume and they're trying to dump 2.6 million of volume, they'll do it in the morning because it's liquid, right? You can dump on retail. But if it doesn't and it starts soaking and basing and above VWAP and lower highs, at that point you don't want to fight it. So I've been trading for a long time, 7-9 years, probably even longer. I swear, for years ago, people asked me like, "How long have you been trading?" 7 to 9 years. It never changes. But I longed. So do you have the chart in front of you? Let me.
yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now.
Okay, chart, and I can send you. Uh, I guess the viewers can see this, but look at the chart, my entries and things, because this will make sense. So you can like, if it will be beneficial to you, I can tell you where I went long, why I went long, what my thought process was. So if you look at down there at the long, 10:30ish I went long on that basis, and I didn't try to bottom ticket. So there's a lot of people on Twitter that make money all the time, quote unquote.
Right.
I don't want to get into drama, but um, the goal is never to bottom tick, top tick. You always want to, ideally, you want to wait for uh, like a confirmation. So the VWAP I think was around that five something. Um, so I waited till it was above VWAP and then I longed some. I wanted to buy some on the pullback. I didn't get it. And what I was thinking is, at this point, because it was above the VWAP, I was thinking, you know what? Maybe they will push it to above 6. So this is where you see the second long. So the second entry, which was long. And then, long and behold, what happens at around 6:45. So another aspect is there's a little bit of misconception. A lot of people think that you, when it gets to 6, that's where they're gonna start dumping. If it's warrants and things like that, they don't usually dump at the exact price because they usually dump a bit higher. So it's not profitable to do break-even trades, right? Unless they
Right.
pre-hedged it, etc. So this pushes above 650, and then all of a sudden it starts wicking, right? And because I had a lot of shares, my goal is just to scale in slowly into this. And that's where you can see that I waited until it pushes higher, and when it pulls below, so the other thing is, if you can draw a line uh, at 650, 660, like you can see my entries are always when it comes below that certain line, right? Before the previous wick. Because I'm not trying to be a hero. The goal of
Right.
trading is never, ever, 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 ever to become a hero. It's always like the people that are here in the long run always tend to kind of wait for a confirmation. There's no, we've like we've lost enough money that it there's no need to top tick, if you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I understand.
This is a key. So wait till the wicks are cleared up. That way you're not guessing. Um, and then as I was seeing buyers, I and basically I worked around the core. I try not to scalp, but that's what I did, and I made some mistakes. Um, is there any other questions you have? Because I can ramble on for like 30 minutes, 40
No,
minutes.
no. I mean, I'm absorbing everything, man.
Okay.
Like I said, I had some good averages on HTPA. I'm just kind of the level 2, then the tape, it threw me off, and I ended up, basically scalping it, for just a minimal win when I could have held from, pre-market, and kind of been good all day. I'm just kind of,
Well, what were
just
you
trying to
long?
figure that out.
Let's talk about, you want to talk about my trade or your trade? Whatever is beneficial to you. The objective of
Um,
this is to help you, not for me to ramble and talk. So tell me what you
Honestly,
want.
trying to figure out, the reading the tape process and trying to key in on, okay, if the bid's getting soaked or, the offer's getting soaked,
Hmm.
I'm still having a hard time seeing or trying to figure out what the market players or what they're trying to do, what their game plan is, and who they're trying to shake out, who's underwater, who's what.
Okay,
So I
that's
definitely did get a little
that's a very
frustrated this morning about it.
very good question, and thank you for asking that. So first off, the game plan has to, from the way I play it. Some people are technical traders. As long as you make money, it's cool. There's no nothing. But for me, my thesis revolves around the fundamental. Like I mentioned earlier, I try to understand why things happen. It got pushed, why it got pushed. Sometimes, believe it or not, we're long these stocks from like $2, $3, and that's another day story. But in this case, so the thesis of it failing and pushing came from fundamental. And your second question was you were having troubles with the tape.
Right.
So this is a very cool thing that I learned. It's gonna sound weird, but it came from chess, and it's actually a lot of traders, even the ones that I've that I have respect for, um, they have trouble with this. So it's actually called mental power, mental fatigue. Some people look at the tape and they're like, man, I don't want to watch the tape. Tape is noise. Or some people, it's noisy. I don't want to do it. I see your pre-market long. It's nice. So, and then so what do you watch? How do you watch? How do you read it? So one key thing to take away, bro, is you have to just watch. You got to record your screen. There's something called OBS. Or do you have a screen recorder?
I typically use the DAS recorder. The recorder kind of just get by, and then
No.
and
Do you
then
have a screen recorder to record your monitors to recap the tape?
oh yeah, I use I forgot what it's actually called, but
Oh,
I do have a screen
okay.
recorder.
So record it or go on YouTube and find the tape. And the key thing that I was talking about, the mental fatigueness, and a lot of the guys that I know, they have a problem with this. Bro, you gotta watch the tape at key levels. If you watch it consistently, your brain's gonna get fried. Like in chess, at a certain key moments, that's when you actually think. Anything prior, you don't really look. Like if a stock comes to a key level, a fighting level, that's when you want to watch the tape. So a lot of it kind of has to come with it is 100% its experience. It's 100% being in front of the screen. But how you can do it is, but it's tough. And I know everybody, like a lot of people maybe want shortcuts, whatever. But one key thing that I could say is the fighting level. That's where you watch the tape. So if you would like after this call or before this call, I don't know. There's a channel that does that records the tape. So go to the levels where it washed. Go to the level before it spiked, and you can watch that action. You can watch that tape and watch those a lot more than you watch other areas. That's how you will learn. So in terms of giving you some tips, is that what you wanted? Do you wanted some other tips how to find soakers, what they're going on, or?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of just conversation. Like I said, man, like it throws me off on the all. But like you said, having that background thesis, that fundamental thesis on it, I guess it helps out with that because I think sometimes I try to go in blind, reading the tape, not knowing if the company is a trash company or if they have convertibles ready to go. That's something I'm trying to add to my arsenal to
Yeah,
get better on my edge and
yeah,
just knowing what I'm up against.
100%. Different, yeah.
So,
One aspect is the fundamentals, but about the tape thing, did you have any other questions or did you want anything in specific? Because, like I said, I've been trading for a long time. I can talk for days. If there's anything you want to know, like I'm happy to give you. Like if you're like, yo, how do you find the soakers? Or if you have any, like, if you saw something weird, I can like maybe recall off the top of my head or something. Or I can go back and look at the tape if I remember.
so there is maybe I guess it's kind of a specific question. I've actually marked a few market makers on the level 2. There, if do you know anything about the inverse market makers like EDGA, NQBX, and I forgot that. I think it's BYX. I want to say. I've noticed around key levels they start jumping around a lot, and that's where the most volatility starts happening.
Are
Those fit on
those
the best bid and offer.
are those the I've I've heard of them like NQ and X. I don't know if you're talking about like are they
Yeah,
like clearing
yeah.
firms? So those are the clearing routes. So
Mm-hmm.
a market maker would be an individual that controls it. Sometimes they will use different routes to go in and out. And you have some traders that are scalpers that are very quick, and their advantage is actually using the route. So
Okay.
if in my opinion, this is all my opinion, my perspective. It's tough to say that these are the market maker routes. The market maker uses NQNX, and that's what I'm gonna look for is the tape on that level.
Okay.
That in my opinion is not it's not good. It's not true. What you gotta do, like I mean, if they're using that route to go in and out, yes, at that day it would make sense. But sometimes they can use different routes. Sometimes they can use dark pools.
Right.
So your question was Do I know about them? And what was the other part?
I mean, if they had any effect on the price action around key levels. I mean, that's just something that I have noticed. Like I said, it's not a fact thing, but it is something that has caught my attention a few times. That they tend to jump, on the best bid or offer, like I said, around levels. I had noticed that big time. But I just want to see if you had any insight on.
Um, hmm. I mean, what happens? You haven't heard of Wyckoff, have you?
No, that's my first time hearing that term.
Okay. So if the question is at around key levels, it bounces back and forth. Every once in a while, what a market maker does is they build a position. When they're building a position, it's called an accumulation phase. So if you were to go look at even the chart that you sent me, I don't know if people can see this. Let me put this up. So this is the chart that you sent me. This is your trade. You see, look at your chart, the consolidation areas.
Right.
Um, so at 10, 10:30, it washed, like, it's going sideways. To us, that doesn't mean anything, but to a market maker, they purposely push it up, push it down, wash it. So they sell into the pushes, and then when dip comes in, they long a bit, quite a bit, soak it, push it a bit, and then wash it below VWAP, get rid of the shorts. So that's called accumulation phase. And to answer your question, um, when a certain key level happens and they bounce back and forth, that kind of happens there. So they maybe you're looking at the tape form where they're kind of like bouncing back and forth. They will
Right.
best the bid, but ask. They're building like a stage. They're building accumulation, or they're building a position basically, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
And it's best to stay out of a trade like that, right? Because really edge and trying to um, getting on that, right? If it's in the accumulation phase, because I mean, hindsight, like during the present time, we don't know if they're accumulating or they're just shuffling around um, longs or they're trying to flush out longs at that time, right?
Right, right, yeah. I mean, that's the thing where, from my experience, it all depends on the type of trader you are. And I've
Right.
always said, so to answer your question, it doesn't, how can you tell whether, if your question is, how can you tell whether they're flushing it, the longs, or they're pushing the shorts, right? That's your question?
Right.
So
Right.
you don't know. And my style of trading is I short the pops and I buy the dips because that matches my personality. I'm not a 90% of times I'm not a scalper, but
Uh-huh.
I will buy the dip risking a previous dip. So,
Okay.
or I will short a pop risking a previous pop. You don't know. And one of the best things that you can do, I don't know how long you've been trading for, is one of the best things you can do is kind of be non-biased, like have an agenda. And then, so if you don't know, like in this case, like go look at my chart and where I went short. I didn't know, like I was wrong here, okay? At the third short position, I was shorting and I was washing, covering at the wash, short cover. I thought my objective was that this was gonna flush down to $3, $2. I don't know. The point was it was gonna flush, right? Because now that they're done, but I didn't know. So even though I had conviction in my trade and I didn't know, I took the position. The position I had, if I lost the money there at above that high with my position size, I didn't care, and that's why I was okay with stopping out. So
Okay.
you don't know. There's no clear way to do it. Um, you just have to take the risk, right? There's a wise quote out there that says, what does it say? It says, I forgot. It was too wise. I forgot. It's something to do with like you don't make money if you don't risk money. That's the moral of the story.
You gotta risk it, or was it you gotta risk it to get the biscuit?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah, something like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. So no, you don't know. You just gotta make sure your position size is small enough. Calculate. You've heard of the term R, right?
Yep.
Okay. So calculate your R and make sure the key thing is make sure if you stop out there, it doesn't hurt you. And one of the other key thing is, even if you have a small account, in from my experience, it may not work for you. From my experience, I like to have multiple entries. But that's just because I hold for a long period of time, etc. It's tough to be. Some people are like one hit, one short. For me, it's just I gotta add into it. But always calculate your R, and your R has to be small enough that you count for a little bit of slippage, that it shouldn't hurt you. It shouldn't have emotions. Anytime you go in above that, it gets sketchy. It gets nerve-wracking. Okay. By the way, I do have to bounce in like 5-10 minutes. But anything else? Feel free to ask away. There's any specific questions, anything you want. If I can help, I'm happy to help.
Hey man, thank you for just taking the time just to help
Yeah,
out.
yeah, no worries, bro. I enjoy. I really really like helping. So, is there anything that you have? Any other specific question? Anything else?
Nah, man, that's it. I think I just gotta go back, review the tape, and just kind of see, like you said, look around the key levels. That's when you zone in versus when it's just going back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna start paying attention. Like I said, I have been staring, and I'm not gonna lie, staring at the tape in level 2. Not there are non-key levels, so that's probably one of my issues.
Right,
Just zoning in on in one
because
level.
we all are brain power. Everybody has the same like brain power, and if you fatigue it, it gets. So there's a guy. If you actually Google, I mean YouTube tape reader, what I could do, tape reading. I think there's a YouTube channel called tape reading. Uh, yeah, tape reading. And I don't know the guy off personally, but I'll send it to your inbox.
Okay.
And here you go. And let me see for anybody that's like watching right now, I'll show them as well. I don't know who this person is, but I think it's Short Bear or somebody. I don't know.
Oh,
Uh,
the short bear. Okay.
I think this is the channel where you can watch the tape. So always go back to the key levels, just watch it. Uh,
Okay.
and that's when you can like make notes, how it reacts, how it behaves. And experience is the only way.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that.
No worries, brother. Thank you very much for reaching out. I appreciate it. Uh, and let me know. I just posted a video if there's any way you want me to improve. And
Okay.
this was really refreshing. Like I said, I really really like helping
No,
people.
like I said,
And if it's
thank
somebody
you.
that I don't know, it's really cool to like you don't know somebody and if you can give back, it's neat. So I thank you for coming on voice. It must have been a bit weird, awkward. I know I would be, but I'm a
Nah, man.
weirdo.
When it comes to information and trying to learn something, I talk to anyone about it.
Perfect, perfect.
But you definitely got to be open to to talking to anyone, especially when it comes to trading the tickers we trade. So
Yeah, definitely gotta
it's
be
good.
open-minded. All right, brother. Really good talking to you. Keep in touch, and if you have any feedbacks, let me know.
So much.
All right, brother.
Take care.
Have a wonderful day. Bye.